Hi and welcome to Enchantment of Eternity's breakdown and analysis of the Expanse Season 3 trailer. In this video I will break down and discuss the new trailer for the Expanse Season 3 and the implications that it has. So before watching this video, you should have seen the Expanse Season 3 full trailer. If you haven't, go watch that first, then come back to this video. Now, I have read the books that the show is based off of, but I know many who watch the show have not. So I will keep this video spoiler-free, free from spoilers from the books, although it will contain spoilers from Seasons 1 and 2 of The Expanse, so to avoid spoilers, you should have seen up to the end of Season 2. I will have a spoiler section at the end of the video for those who have read the books, but I will give a proper spoiler warning before getting into those. So before then, I'll be saying stuff like, look, what could that possibly mean? Even though I know full well what that means, but I'll do this to try to avoid any spoilers. So, I won't go frame by frame of the trailer because many of the things seen in the trailer I frankly have nothing to say about without getting into book spoilers. So instead of burying the lead, let me start with the biggest revelation of the trailer. You see that there? That's Holden, Alex, Avasarala, and Bobby Draper on what appears to be the Rocinante. So this is something the trailer kind of glosses over, which is a big surprise to me, as I thought the trailer was going to make a big deal out of. But this shot comes from a snippet that just flashes on the screen, so blink and you'll miss it. Perhaps that was the point, to sort of hide in plain sight. So this is a pretty big deal for the show because Avasarala has been a main character on the show for 2 seasons, but during this time she's been off doing her own thing and not really interacting with other characters until they introduced Bobby Draper into her storyline. But to see her and Holden on the Rocinante together, kind of a big deal. One I wish that they would have put more emphasis on, but whatever. So earlier in the trailer, we get a clip where Naomi says you can't trust her, and Holden replies by saying, "But I can trust you." And the "her" in Naomi's statement, I think, refers directly to Avasarala. And Holden's response, of course, is referencing the revelation at the end of Season 2 that Naomi gave Fred Johnson the proto-molecule, which Holden obviously isn't happy about. This is also referenced earlier in the trailer where Alex and Amos are talking, and apparently they're not so happy about it either. But anyway, back to Avasarala. There's also a clip of her talking to someone saying, please help me stop it. And I think that someone is very obviously Holden, making it clear that the two of them will indeed team up. In fact, later in the trailer, we see Avasarala making a speech to try to unite Earth, Mars, and the Belt, in which she says, Earth, they actually show a shot of Rocinante crew, which is strange because they don't exactly represent Earth, but I think it makes it clear that Holden and the others are directly involved in this great coming together of all 3 sides, and I would guess that Aaron Wright and Protogen are who they're coming together against, but more on that later on. Let me now touch on the other person we see interacting with the Rocinante crew for the first time, and that's Bobby Draper. As in addition to that one brief shot, we also get another moment in the trailer where Alex is talking to someone saying, "The plan is, if you see any of those things down there, you run." And then we cut to Bobby Draper saying, "I know the plan." Now, one might surmise that this is just trickery in editing and that Alex isn't really talking to Bobby, but if you look at Bobby's shot, you can clearly see that there is indeed Alex that she's talking to. So this is clearly indicates Bobby will be working with the Rocinante crew. Further, there's another shot where we see Bobby along with Holden, Amos, and Prax down on a planet in spacesuits. And from the context of the trailer, one could assume this place is where the bad guys are, as we see the proto-molecule monsters being launched into space from this location. So other than Avasarala and Bobby joining the Rocinante crew, we get a lot of indications that there's going to be some really explosive action sequences this year. Not just with the protomolecule monsters, but we get to see some snippets of some space battles as well. On that note, we get a clip of this character saying, "Be ready for anything." Now, you may recognize this character as he was in the first 2 seasons. This is Admiral Souther, whom book readers know well as he has an important part to play at the end of book 2, which is the material that will be covered at the start of season 3. He's actually been in the show since season 1, something I didn't even remember until rewatching the show again. He's a high-ranking admiral who was on opposite sides with Avasarala because she was a warhawk and Souther often was more cautious. We see in season 2 that the two of them make an uneasy alliance. So judging by the trailer, we will see him in action as if there's to be a big battle. I would guess that he would be on Avasarala's side. Another shot we get of him shows him in what appears to be a sickbay with Kotazar, who was the intelligence operative who worked with Avasarala in season 2. Now, from the teaser trailer, it looked as if they might kill off Kotazar, as they had a shot of Avasarala cradling his wounded body as he was shot in the season 2 finale. But seeing him with Souther and has confirmed to me that he will indeed live. We also get another shot with him looking at an airlock with Avasarala. This is probably while they're still on Jules Pierre Mal's ship. But we don't see him on the Rocinante, and instead we see him with Admiral Souther, which tells me he will part ways with Avasarala and Bobby as they go off the Rocinante, and he will join up with Admiral Souther. And I think the two of them will have their own little storyline, kind of similar to the Abagast storyline that went to Venus at the end of season 2. That won't take up too much screen time, but it will give Souther someone to play off of so we can see what he's up to, or at least that's my guess. So we also get a few shots of the baddies. We see Jules Pierre Mal with Dr. Strickland, the doctor who had abducted Prax's kid from him. And we also get a glimpse of Ehrenreich demanding that they give him the weapon. As you recall, in season 2, Ehrenreich took back Mal's alliance by force, so he is once again working with him. And it's fair to say that Ehrenreich still commands a sizable force. So in the clip where Holden says, "We just declared war on Earth," I'm pretty sure he's referring to Ehrenreich's forces as opposed to forces Avasarala commands through Admiral Souther. We also see that the protomolecule may spread, or appears that Mal and Strickland are trying to spread it, so it seems this will be in imminent danger as well. Speaking of Strickland, we get a shot of him with May, Prax's daughter, who was revealed to still be alive at the end of season 2, and still herself. We then see Prax in a spacesuit on a mission with Amos and the others. We hear Amos telling Prax not to give up on his daughter, so I'd say it's a safe bet that Prax will go on a mission to get his daughter back. So this is as far as I can go without getting into spoilers. If you thought this section was too spoilery, I apologize, but do know that I was holding back a lot. Also be aware, not everything I said was coming from a place of knowledge, as the show is very different from the books in many ways, so sometimes I was just guessing and I could be wrong. So, what I'm about to say is kind of semi-spoilery, so if you're really squeamish about spoilers, you can back out now, but most of you should be okay. And that is that the trailer focused entirely on the book 2 material, which is likely to wrap up in the first 5 or 6 episodes. So this trailer really only covers like the first part of the season, which as you can see is going to be explosive as hell. Doesn't cover the book 3 storyline at all, which is also no slouch. So be excited, be very excited. Okay, so now I'm going to go on to full-on book spoilers for those of you who have read the books. Everyone else will want to back out and tune out now, and thanks a lot for watching. For everyone else, let me get into book spoilers, which begin now. So, as I just mentioned, Book 3 wasn't touched on at all in the trailer, which I suppose the Season 2 trailer dealt mostly with the remaining Book 1 material as well, except for showing Bobby Draper. But this trailer doesn't introduce us to any of the new characters we know have been confirmed to appear in Season 3, such as Pastor Anna, Monica Stewart, Clarissa Mal, and whoever David Stratham is playing. It makes me reconsider what I said in my prediction video about them introducing some of these characters like Anna at the start of the season while they're still dealing with Book 2 material. I suppose it's still possible, but I consider it less of a possibility now. I am surprised that they didn't even show a clip of Elizabeth Mitchell as Anna, as she's going to be the new hot character. And as I said, they introduced Bobby Draper in the Season 2 trailer, but oh well. The trailer proved me wrong on another prediction I had, as I thought that Kotazar would go with Bobby Draper and Avasarala to the Rocinante, but we clearly see Avasarala and Draper are alone on the Razorback, and as I mentioned earlier, it looks like Kotazar is going to go with Admiral Southern, which I actually think is a good call. But this makes my prediction that Kotazar will indeed live to the end of the season a lot more hopeful. What I'm perplexed about, and why I didn't mention it at all in my spoiler-free section, is Fred Johnson and Drummer's appearances in the trailer. As you know, they weren't involved in this part of the book, so I would guess that they're somehow going to be inserted into this big battle at Io. Also, the trailer particularly focuses on Drummer, and it's got me convinced more than ever that she will indeed take over Bull's storyline from Book 3, and that part will be minimized as well, and that she will be the main focus of the OPA's presence in the slow zone that is on Holden's side. I still say you need to have Astrid because he's a major part of the story. Without him, you're missing a big chunk of Book 3, so I say that she's going to be his XO, and not Pa, who I think is going to be cut from the show and sort of combined with Drummer's character and sort of combine the two characters. Which I actually thought the two of them were rather similar from the books anyway. And their storyline won't be as prominent, which will allow them to get through more of Book 3. As you cut out Bull's storyline, that's cutting out a lot of Book 3. But that's just my guess. I could be wrong. So, yeah, what I'm predicting is that Season 3 will end with the end of Book 3, which would be the first in the show, because usually the show only goes like halfway through the book. But we know they only want to do 7 seasons, and there's 9 books, so I think they're going to have to start consolidating it somehow, and that's just my guess. But especially because there's such a giant time jump between books 3 and 4, and I think you can't work around it like the other time jumps between the different books you could work around. With that one, you need to have several years, so I say Season 3 ends with Book 3, but that's me. Also, the emphasis on Naomi's betrayal has got me crafting a theory that perhaps the tensions between her and the Rocinante crew will grow throughout the season, and when the season ends with the end of Book 3, she will leave or get kicked off the Rocinante, which will allow her to go and do her Book 5 storyline, while Draper will take her place on the Rocinante to go to Illis, where they can do their Book 4 storyline. So Season 4 will cover parts of Book 4 and Book 5 simultaneously, because I don't see them spending an entire season on Illis, but apparently the producers said that they wouldn't skip over a book entirely. So I think this would be a likely compromise, as Holden, Alex, and Amos' Book 5 storylines could be shortened or given to other characters so that they could have Books 4 and 5 happening at the same time, and that's why they created this conflict with Naomi and the crew that didn't exist in the books, and this would also be a great way to keep Draper in the show, but I could be totally wrong about this. In any event, I do think they're going to find a way to blend Books 2 and 3 crossover to make it appear like it flows right into the next, perhaps by having the through line be the protomolecule thingy on Venus going out towards the edge of the solar system. And I could see Johnson and Drummer's story flowing into this where they're involved with the Battle of Io, but then they transition to seeing Johnson sending her out to the ring system with Ashford. I doubt Johnson himself would go because I don't see that he'd fit into that, and he most certainly could not take Ashford's place because that just wouldn't work at all, but I don't know, I could be wrong about that too, we'll see. And while I think they'll find something for Avasarala and Bobby to do during the Book 3 material to keep them around, I think Prax is going to be gone after the Book 2 material concludes, as there's not really much for him to do, especially after he gets reunited with May. Although I suppose they could find a way to tie him into Avasarala's storyline somehow, but I kind of doubt it. Anyway, that is all I have for the trailer. Thank you so much for watching. I will be covering The Expanse Season 3 extensively, as well as I do a book-to-show comparison series where I go episode by episode comparing The Expanse to its source material, and plus a couple of prediction videos. I also do videos on many other shows like Game of Thrones, Star Trek, Babylon 5, and more, so be sure to subscribe so you can keep up with all of that. And thanks a lot for watching.